Start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm looking at. Right now we have Tesla on the screen. Got NASDAQ market down about 0.6%. We could see lower highs, lower lows, but right now we are seeing a nice little rip up to that moving average. I'm going to give it a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes for people to start tuning on in. The CPI data report is going to be released within the next 5 minutes. And just for those that weren't able to tune on in, right now we sit at a current inflation rate of 3.4%. The expectation for what's about to be reported is 2.9% is the forecast. So from 3.4, it's expected to go down to 2.9. That's a 0.5% drop. The idea behind this is that they only expect a 0.2% increase on overall CPI, and then they take away a 0.5% increase that was reported in January of 2023. So we remove the old, we add the new, and based off of how the CPI data report is now calculated, we come up with 2.9% is the current market's expectation. So, all right. Let's see. Can you guys hear me and see me okay? Everything's good on that live stream? All right. So again, we will be able to see how the market reacts. We got the NASDAQ market right on over here. We sold off a little bit before market close yesterday. As you guys can see, we saw some selling pressure into the later 2 hours of market close, and then extended hours. We kind of traded sideways after a nice little sell-off. During today's pre-market session, we saw some selling pressure. Makes sense. Market was very overbought. It was at all-time highs. So for the market to correct itself maybe down to the moving average, just in preparation, just in case, right? If this report does come in higher than what is expected, the market could potentially correct itself a lot more. And that's the last thing that I want to share with you guys is based off of current market expectation at that 2.9%, if we come in higher, then maybe the market will sell off. If we come in at or below, then the market could potentially continue to rally. So I never like to trade the actual report itself before it gets released. I like to trade the market's reaction when its direction is a little bit more clear. Again, there's a lot of different ways on how you can choose to approach the market. So I'm not here to say that my way is the only way, but I would rather be someone that waits to react than expects to predict, the market reaction, because no one knows exactly what is going to be reported and how the market's going to be reacting to this. All right. We have 2 minutes left. 2 minutes. And again, if it's not too much to ask, please make sure you guys drop a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. What app is that? So the trading application that I'm using, it's linked down below. It's the 5th link in the description down below. It's the Webull trading application. It's free and available to anyone in the US. And if you use my link, you'll earn up to 12 free shares when you have an initial deposit of at least $5. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to DM me via Discord or via Instagram, which is also linked down below. So live trading too. Live trading, I will be doing it, but that's only for the LPP team. So if you want to join LPP, 2nd link in the description down below for the biggest discount. If not, no hard feelings. I'm just going to be able to work with them privately. Okay. Mic is quiet. Can you guys hear me okay? All right, we have, what is that? We have about 40 seconds left before the report gets released. 40 seconds is what you have before market reacts to this CPI data report being released. And I will be breaking it down after it does get released. So just a little heads up on that. All right, we have about 22 seconds left. 22 seconds. Here we go. 9 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and Whoa. 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 Big drop. Yep. January CPI data report, we saw an increase of 0.3%. Coming in with all items included 3.1%. Expectation was 2.9, came in at 3.1. So we could see we added the new month of January. Remember, the expectation was 0.1 or 0.2, and we came in at 0.3, hotter than what is expected. What does this mean? Well, when we take away the old month and add the new month, and the new month that we added for January of 2024 is hotter than what is expected, to me, and again, feel free to share your guys' 2 cents down in the live chat, right? The more that we share, the more informed decision other people can make. The idea that I wanted to share with you is because now inflation is showing that it's coming in hotter than what is expected, this does not support the case that the Federal Reserve should cut interest rates sooner. This just pushes it back because remember, they're focused on our economic data, and based off of how these inflation reports come out will determine when the Federal Reserve begins to cut interest rates. So the reason we're beginning to see some selling pressure is because the idea or the hope or the expectation for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates just got pushed back even further. Because if inflation is not coming down, then the Federal Reserve has no reason to cut interest rates if inflation is actually hotter and higher than what is expected. Does that make sense? Beautiful. Oh my goodness. And there we go. We have all items, which is overall CPI, and then we have core CPI right on over here. So core CPI came in pretty much flat, and then we can break down all the line items in just a bit. So do you guys want me to break down these line items, or do you guys have it figured out? I know we have a handful of people, obviously the majority of you guys have seen the CPI data report. I'd be more than happy to break it down for you guys. I just want to make sure that, it's something you guys actually want me to do. So please let me know in the live chat, or again, just drop a thumbs up, and again, would love to do it for you. Beautiful selling pressure, my goodness. Good or bad? CPI data report came in hotter than what is expected, which is not considered good for the market. So CPI at 3.1%, higher than expected. So I'm just gonna share that in that live chat. Okay, I'd be more than happy to break it down for you guys. I appreciate you guys waking up this early, tuning on into this live stream, catching the market's reaction. I know it sounds funny, but obviously, I love to host these for you guys. Especially when you guys show interest in wanting to tune on in. But as you guys can see, TQQQ down 4.5%. Tesla is down 2.45%. AMD down 2.5%. This is a major economic report. And the reason that the market's reacting maybe a little bit more dramatically than we would normally expect is because right now there's a big expectation that the Federal Reserve should be cutting interest rates soon, and this just lowered that expectation. So it's going to be very exciting to see how news outlets word their articles based off of these reports. You're going to hear a lot about inflation coming in hotter than what is expected. Maybe the rate cuts are not going to come as soon as expected, but let's go ahead and break down these line items. So remember, this inflation report is very, very simple. So like all this inflation report it pretty much tracks month over month, right? From December to January, from January to February. Is inflation going up or down? That's what this is tracking. So in January, there's these line items, and it's pretty much just asking the question, okay, food for that line item. in January? Did it go up or down? And if it went down, it would have been a negative 0.4 or whatever it would have been, right? But for food in January, it went up, and it went up 0.4%, right? We have food, what is that? Food away from home saw a 0.4% increase as well. Let me go to, yeah, okay. And then we have energy. Let me just double check. Energy saw a decrease of 0.9%. We see that energy commodities saw a decrease of 3.2%. We have gasoline, all types saw a decrease of 3.3%. One of the biggest drops that we've seen is fuel oil. So that's, again, kind of just like gasoline, right? Fuel oil saw a decrease of 4.5%. And then energy services, it looks like we saw an increase of 1.4%. Electricity, 1.2%. All right, we're seeing a nice little pullback on the rest of the market. Let me just double check. Yep, NASDAQ market still holding down here. No indication of a reversal. I just want to make sure that I pay attention to that. I would love to trade the reversal if it makes sense. And then we have all items less food and energy saw an increase of 0.4%. So this is considered core CPI. Core CPI is, like you heard, all items less food and energy. And that's the main focus from the Federal Reserve. We can talk about that a little bit later, but the Federal Reserve, even with the way that they raise or decrease interest rates, it doesn't really affect the demand on energy and food as they're more essential, right? Let's go ahead and go to commodities. So commodities, we saw a decrease of 0.3%. New vehicles, we saw no change in the month of January. In used car and trucks, we saw a decrease of 3.4%. That's one of the biggest drops that I've seen. That means that used car prices are still dropping. This is something that we have not seen in the past couple of months. We kind of saw small drops and then kind of jump back up, right? We saw an increase of 1.4%, 0.6%. But now for the month of January, we saw a decrease of 3.4%. So a pretty significant drop there. So again, when people ask you, hey, what do you expect? What do you think about used cars and trucks right now? This is where you can make the educated and informed decision. Well, based off of the CPI data report, used cars and trucks are still dropping. Very simple, right? Apparel saw a decrease of 0.7%. And then medical care services saw a decrease of 0.6%. Services less energy services saw an increase of 0.7. We got shelter, increase of 0.6. Transportation services, increase of 1%. Medical care services saw an increase of 0.7%. So that's the entire breakdown for the month of January. The biggest decrease we saw in the month of January is the line item of fuel oil. So fuel oil was the biggest contributor to why CPI went down, right? That's the biggest drop that we saw. The biggest contributor on the flip side, right, of what we saw the biggest jump on, that's going to be 2%. Let me double check. Yep, 2%. And 2% was on utility gas pipe services, if I'm not mistaken. So utility gas pipe services is the one that saw the biggest increase in the month of January. Very important to be aware of, right? And look at that. NASDAQ market still dropping like a rock. We're still beginning to show signs of a support. I'm looking at the other stocks here in my watch list, 2.6%. Love watching it. What's going on, Zachary? What's going on, man? From Australia. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Thank you, Ricky. Love learning from you. Thank you. Keep it up, brother. Thanks for the update. I'll see everyone in LPP group in a few minutes. Of course, we'll see you there in a few minutes. Again, if you guys want to join the live trading session for LPP, it's the second link in the description down below. But I wanted to see, can I answer any last minute questions just on the CPI data report? So you guys have the website that it comes out on. Overall CPI came in at 3.1% before seasonal adjustment. We have core CPI. Let me double check. Yep, core CPI came in at 3.9%, which is pretty much flat and then we broke down the line items, right? What's the upside on a TQQQ reversal? Well, that's pretty easy to set up, right? So if by the time the market opens, if the market tries to react in a positive way, which markets are so bullish right now that it wouldn't really surprise me that it still tries to recover. So from where we're at right now, if it does try to recover back to where we were before this report came out, that offers about a 2.9% increase. I want to remind you, this report is not good. It's not the end of the world. It's not like, oh my gosh, inflation, it completely jumped up. No, it did. It did jump up, and it did come in hotter than what is expected, but it's not, it went from 2.9% expectation to a 3.1% report. So you guys know that I love being dramatic with the thumbnails, but when it comes down to the actual content that I make, you guys know that I'm always straightforward with you guys. I like to talk about both sides, but the report wasn't anything that was like, oh my gosh, this is so devastating. It's bad for the market, and you can see that just based off of the market's natural reaction, but it's not the end of the world, right? It's not completely out of left field. It shouldn't surprise you if we just begin to see more fear being instilled in the market. I think the biggest thing that I want you to understand about this is that inflation is still sticky. Inflation is still a little bit hotter and a little bit more challenging for the Federal Reserve to control. And because of this, again, it's most likely, less likely, that they're going to be cutting interest rates sooner than later, right? Because if it still remains sticky, then there's no reason for them to be able to justify rate cuts from the eyes of the Federal Reserve, okay? All right. James, you cracked me up. So will NASDAQ market go up? Why are you asking me questions about what that's, oh my goodness. So no recovery here, dude. USD on steroids. Yeah, overall NASDAQ market is still, a very strong market. We're coming off of a really strong bull run. But again, if you are someone that is so unaware and that is so dependent that you need to ask someone what you should or should not be doing in the market, you're simply not ready to trade. And that's not a diss against you. That's to encourage you that you need to take more time to learn more about the market. So maybe practice with paper trading, but you should not be trading with real money if you are asking the simple question, is the market going to recover? Because you just asking that question just highlights how oblivious you are to how the market works and what you expect for someone else to tell you what to do. You should never rely on someone to tell you where to buy or where to sell. And I really hope that you take that as words of encouragement of me looking out for you and not me trying to diss you, right? This is not an easy market to do well in. And it's not going to be any easier by you asking for help in a way that simply takes time for you to learn more about, okay? So I hope to see you in our live trading session. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes for our team. We're going to be going live right at market open. Remember, my team gets to watch me trade live every morning. They get to see my entries, they get to see my exits, but most importantly, they get to hear the thought process behind every trade I take, both good trades and bad trades. And again, this is a one-time payment, lifetime access. It's 50% off right now, and it's the second link in the description down below. So I hope to see you there. You guys can sign up right now and watch me trade live and by market open, which is in about 45 minutes. So if you want access, once you sign up for LPP, it's included within the first 3 videos of the course. It shows you exactly how to tune on in to our live sessions. So once you sign up, watch the first 3 videos in the course. It's the introduction section, and it literally is labeled how to access live trading session. So appreciate your time. I hope that it earned a thumbs up. If you have any further questions about today's CPI data report, shoot me a direct message via Discord or via Instagram, which is linked down below. And also, I do want to remind you, we did just kick off our Corvette C8 giveaway. I would love for me to be able to hand you the keys or the money of $50,000 to one of my subscribers or followers here on Instagram or on YouTube. So if you guys haven't checked it out, it's super simple to enter. Fourth link in the description down below, shoptechbits.com. Don't buy anything you don't actually want. But again, every order gets you entered from t-shirts. Again, you can buy anything and it gets you all automatically entered for a chance to win this Corvette CA or $50,000 cash. So this is our fourth car giveaway. And I hope to see one of you guys as the winner. I appreciate your time. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care.